Captain Marcus Vale stood on the bridge of the Pathfinder, humanity's first deep space exploration vessel. After 3 years of traveling through the void, they had finally discovered something extraordinary. The massive structure floating before them defied everything they knew about engineering. It stretched for kilometers, a gleaming metropolis in space that housed millions of beings from dozens of different species. "This is incredible," whispered Lieutenant Rebecca Torres, the ship's communications officer. "We're looking at a galactic trading hub, multiple civilizations working together." The Pathfinder was never meant to be a warship. It carried a crew of scientists, diplomats, and explorers. Their mission was simple: make peaceful contact with any intelligent life they encountered. The ship's weapons were purely defensive, designed to protect against space debris and minor threats. Commander James Mitchell, the ship's tactical officer, reviewed their situation. "Sir, we're receiving multiple scan signatures. At least 50 vessels of unknown configuration are moving toward our position." Vale nodded calmly. This was exactly what they had hoped for. First contact with an advanced galactic civilization. He turned to Dr. Patricia Wong, their xenobiology specialist and lead diplomat. "Doctor, prepare the first contact protocols. We're about to make history." What they didn't know was that their arrival had caused panic throughout the station. The Pathfinder, though small by human standards, was unlike anything the galactic species had ever seen. Its sleek design and unknown energy signatures triggered every threat assessment system in the sector. Admiral Kethros of the Galactic Trade Consortium watched the human ship with growing alarm. His species, the Valdari, had dominated galactic politics for centuries through careful diplomacy and overwhelming numbers. But this vessel radiated an energy pattern that made his sensors scream warnings. "It's moving toward the station," reported his tactical officer, a crystalline being named. "Zephan, its hull composition is unknown. Our scanners can't penetrate it." Kethros made a decision that would echo through history. "All ships form defensive positions. If that vessel approaches within weapons range, we fire." The Pathfinder continued, its approach completely unaware of the growing tension. Captain Vale was reviewing diplomatic protocols when Lieutenant Torres suddenly straightened at her station. "Captain, I'm receiving what appears to be a warning transmission. Multiple languages, but the intent seems clear. They want us to stop." Vale immediately ordered the ship to halt. "Send our peaceful intention signal. All languages we have in our database." But it was too late. Admiral Kethros, seeing the human ship's sudden stop as preparation for attack, gave the order that would launch the first galactic war in 1,000 years. "All ships, open fire." 50 alien warships unleashed their weapons on the single human exploration vessel, beginning a conflict that would reshape the galaxy forever. The first barrage of alien weapons struck the Pathfinder like a hammer blow. Captain Vale was thrown from his command chair as the ship shuddered under the impact. Alarms blared throughout the vessel as systems overloaded and emergency lights bathed everything in red. "Shields at 60%, shouted Commander Mitchell. "Hull breaches on decks 4 and 7. Vale pulled himself up, his mind racing. They had come in peace, but the galaxy had answered with violence. Return fire, defensive patterns only. Try to disable their weapons, not destroy their ships. What happened next would become legend throughout the galaxy. The Pathfinder began to move like no ship the aliens had ever seen. It twisted and rolled through space, its advanced human engineering allowing maneuvers that defied the aliens' understanding of physics. Dr. Wong worked frantically at her station, trying to establish communication. "Captain, I'm detecting at least 12 different species in that fleet. Their technology levels vary dramatically. Some are using energy weapons, others projectile-based." Lieutenant Torres was coordinating damage control when she noticed something incredible. "Sir, our adaptive shields are learning from their attack patterns. Each hit is doing less damage than the last." The alien fleet pressed their attack, but confusion was spreading through their ranks. Admiral Kethros watched in growing disbelief as the single human ship not only survived their combined assault, but began to fight back with devastating precision. The Pathfinder targeted each ship's weapon systems with surgical accuracy. Instead of destroying the alien vessels, it disabled them one by one. The human crew's strategy was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. They weren't trying to win through superior firepower, they were winning through superior tactics. Commander, Mitchell called out targeting solutions with calm precision. Alien vessel bearing 27 Mark IV, energy signature suggests plasma cannon, targeting their power coupling. The human weapons were different too. Instead of crude energy blasts or kinetic projectiles, they used focused particle beams that could slice through alien hulls like paper. But more importantly, they were used with restraint that baffled the alien commanders. "Why aren't they destroying us?" Admiral Kethros demanded. "They could have obliterated half our fleet by now." Zephan's crystalline form flickered with confusion. "Their weapon targeting is incredibly precise. They're only hitting non-critical systems. It's as if they don't want to kill us." The tide of battle turned when 3 more alien ships arrived, thinking they were responding to a distress call. Captain Vale made a decision that would echo through galactic history. "This ends now," he announced. "Mitchell, target the station's communication array, not to destroy it but to boost our signal. Torres, prepare the universal peace message. Full power." The Pathfinder suddenly accelerated toward the massive space station. The remaining alien ships followed, pouring fire into the human vessel. But they were too late to stop what Vale had planned. Using the station's own communication network, the humans broadcast their message across the entire sector. Not words, but mathematics, music, and images that showed Earth, human cities, children, playing, families gathering. The message was clear: we come in peace. The alien fleet stopped firing, hanging motionless in space as the universal language of peace echoed through their communication systems. The silence that followed lasted exactly 17 seconds. Then every communication system in the sector exploded with activity. Captain Vale's universal peace broadcast had reached not just the immediate fleet, but every world, every station, every ship within 50 light-years of their position. Dr. Wong monitored the incoming transmissions with growing amazement. "Captain, we're receiving responses from over 200 different civilizations. Some of these signals are coming from species the galaxy thought were extinct. What they had unknowingly triggered was the awakening of the silent network. For millennia, hundreds of smaller species had remained hidden, watching the dominant powers control galactic politics. They had developed secret communication channels, hidden colonies, and underground trade routes. The human message of peace had activated every one of these dormant connections. Admiral Kethros found himself in command of a fleet that was no longer responding to his orders. His own crew was receiving messages from long-lost colonies and forgotten allies. "What have they done?" he whispered, staring at the tactical display that now showed thousands of new contacts appearing throughout the sector. The Pathfinder hung motionless in space, its hull scarred but intact. Captain Vale stood on his bridge, watching history unfold. Before his eyes, the galaxy wasn't controlled by a few dominant species, as they had assumed. It was a complex web of hidden civilizations, all connected by the very network humanity had just accidentally activated. Lieutenant Torres worked frantically to process the flood of incoming messages. "Sir, I'm getting translation matrices from species we didn't even know existed. They're all requesting direct communication with us." Commander Mitchell studied the tactical situation with professional interest. "Captain, the original fleet has completely lost cohesion. Some ships are breaking off to escort newly arrived vessels. Others are requesting permission to dock with the station. Whatever we triggered, it's bigger than a simple first contact. Dr. Wong made the discovery that would reshape their understanding of galactic politics. Captain, I've been analyzing the communication patterns. This isn't random chaos. It's organized. These species have been waiting for something like this, a catalyst to emerge from hiding. The first direct communication came from an unexpected source. A small, seemingly insignificant vessel that had been hiding in the station's sensor shadow. The being that appeared on their screen was unlike any of the dominant species they had encountered. "Greetings, children of Earth," the creature said, in perfect English. "I am Elder Nith of the Keepers. We have been watching your approach for many cycles, waiting to see if you were ready." Vale stepped forward, his diplomatic training taking over. "Ready for what?" "To learn the truth about the galaxy," Nith replied. "What you see around you, the Consortium and their allies, they control only the visible networks. But there is another galaxy hidden beneath the surface. Thousands of species who chose freedom over security, independence over control." The revelation hit the human crew like a physical blow. They weren't just making first contact with one galactic civilization. They were being invited to join a hidden alliance that spanned half the galaxy. Elder Nith continued, "Your ship, your message, your refusal to destroy when you could have easily done so, these actions have awakened something that has been sleeping for a very long time. The question now is, are you prepared for the consequences?" As if summoned by her words, space around the Pathfinder began to shimmer. Ships materialized from nowhere, emerging from stealth systems and hidden dimensions. The humans found themselves at the center of the largest gathering of vessels in recorded galactic history. The galaxy would never be the same. The hidden fleet that surrounded the Pathfinder was beyond anything in human imagination. Ships that looked like living creatures floated alongside vessels made of pure energy. Some were massive constructs that could house entire cities, while others were sleek fighters no larger than shuttlecraft. Elder Nith's transmission continued as the stunning display unfolded around them. For 3,000 years, the Consortium has maintained peace through control. They decide which species may travel between stars, which technologies can be developed, which worlds can be colonized. But there has always been another path. Captain Vale felt the weight of history pressing down on him. His small exploration ship had somehow become the focal point of a galactic revolution. "What are you asking of us?" "Join us," Nith replied. "Simply, help us build something new. A confederation based on cooperation rather than control, on growth rather than stagnation." Dr. Wong studied the data streaming across her console. "Captain, I'm detecting technology levels here that are centuries beyond what we've seen from the Consortium. These hidden species haven't been standing still. The implications were staggering. Humanity had assumed the galaxy was controlled by the most advanced civilizations. But what if the most advanced had chosen to remain hidden, working in secret, to preserve their freedom? Commander Mitchell voiced what they were all thinking. "Sir, we're talking about choosing sides in a conflict we don't fully understand. Earth sent us to explore, not to start a galactic war." Before Vale could respond, Admiral Kethros's voice crackled over their communication system. "Human vessel, you have unleashed chaos upon the galaxy. Surrender now, and we will show mercy." The irony wasn't lost on any of them. The same species that had fired first was now demanding their surrender. Vale looked around his bridge, seeing the determination in his crew's eyes. "Elder Nith," he said, "what would joining you mean for Earth?" "Protection," she replied immediately. "The Consortium will not forgive what happened here today. They cannot allow the network to remain exposed. Earth will be their first target." The tactical display confirmed her words. Consortium fleets were already mobilizing throughout the sector. Hundreds of warships were converging on their position. and long-range sensors detected movement in the direction of Earth. Vale made the decision that would echo through the ages. We accept. What followed was unlike any alliance ceremony in galactic history. The network species didn't require signatures or formal treaties. Instead, they shared something far more valuable: knowledge. In the space of hours, human technology advanced by centuries. The Pathfinder's engines were upgraded with drives that could cross the galaxy in days. Their weapons systems were enhanced with technology that could disable entire fleets without causing permanent harm. Most importantly, their communication systems were integrated into the network itself. Lieutenant Torres gasped as the connection was established. "Captain, I can communicate with every species in the network simultaneously. The linguistic barriers are completely gone." Dr. Wong was equally amazed by the biological data flowing through her systems. "Sir, they're sharing medical knowledge, genetic information, evolution patterns of hundreds of species. This is beyond invaluable, but the greatest gift was strategic. The network had been watching the consortium for millennia, studying their weaknesses, planning for this day. They knew every fleet movement, every political alliance, every hidden military installation. Elder Nith's final transmission carried a warning and a promise. The consortium believes humanity is alone, a single species on a single world. They will discover their mistake when the Terran Empire rises to protect not just Earth, but every world that chooses freedom over control. As the Pathfinder prepared to return home with its escort of hidden vessels, Captain Vale realized they were no longer explorers. They had become the founders of humanity's first galactic empire. The journey back to Earth took 3 days instead of 3 years, thanks to the network's advanced drive technology. Captain Vale stood on the bridge of the Pathfinder, now part of a fleet of invisible ships that humanity couldn't even detect. The irony wasn't lost on him that Earth's first allies would arrive unannounced, just as his own ship had at the trading. "Station, Captain," Lieutenant Torres announced. "I'm detecting consortium vessels in the Sol system. At least 30 ships in high orbit around Earth." The consortium had moved faster than anyone expected. Admiral Kethros had wasted no time in dispatching a peacekeeping force to humanity's homeworld. But what he didn't know was that his prey had become the hunter. Dr. Wong coordinated with the network strategists through the quantum communication link. "Sir, our allies have been monitoring consortium communications. They're planning to demand Earth's surrender within the hour. If humanity refuses, they intend to demonstrate their power by destroying one of our cities." Vale felt cold fury wash over him. The galaxy's so-called peacekeepers were threatening genocide against a species whose only crime was existing. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them to refuse all consortium demands and prepare for what comes next." The network fleet moved into position around the Sol system, still invisible to both human and consortium sensors. Elder Neith's voice echoed through the bridge. "Captain Vale, you have shown us that humanity fights with honor. Now we will show the galaxy that the network protects its own." What happened next would be remembered as the birth of the Terran Empire. The consortium fleet, confident in their overwhelming superiority, began their attack on Earth's orbital defenses. Their weapons charged, targeting the helpless human installations. Then space itself seemed to come alive around them. Network ships materialized from dimensions the consortium didn't know existed. Weapons that had been hidden for millennia opened fire with precision that made the Pathfinder's earlier performance look crude. But more importantly, the attack was coordinated across the entire galaxy. Commander Mitchell watched the tactical display with professional amazement. "Sir, this isn't just happening here. Network forces are engaging consortium fleets in over 50 systems simultaneously." The consortium's response was swift and brutal. They called in their reserves, mobilizing every available warship for what they assumed would be a quick suppression of a small rebellion. Instead, they found themselves fighting the largest naval engagement in galactic history. The battle for Earth lasted exactly 47 minutes. When it ended, the consortium fleet was disabled but intact, their crews unharmed but their ships powerless. The network's restraint in victory sent a clear message to the galaxy. This was liberation, not conquest. Admiral Kethros, his flagship drifting helplessly in Earth's orbit, sent a final transmission that would be broadcast across known space. "This is Admiral Kethros of the Galactic Trade Consortium. I formally surrender to the Terran Empire." The words were bitter in his mouth, but they carried the weight of prophecy. In less than a week, humanity had gone from unknown species to galactic power. The network had revealed itself, choosing Earth as the symbol of their new federation. Captain Vale stood on the bridge of the Pathfinder, looking down at his homeworld. Blue and beautiful, it now served as the capital of an empire that spanned thousands of worlds. The exploration vessel that had accidentally started a galactic war had become the flagship of humanity's first interstellar fleet. "Sir," Lieutenant Torres said softly, "we're receiving communications from colonies throughout the network. They're requesting formal treaties with the Terran Empire." Dr. Wong smiled as she processed the flood of diplomatic messages. "Captain, we have offers of technology exchange, mutual defense pacts, and trade agreements from over 300 species. Earth went from isolated to the center of galactic politics in a single day." Elder Ninth's final message carried the weight of destiny. "Captain Vale, humanity has proven itself worthy of leadership. The Terran Empire will grow not through conquest, but through the simple truth that free peoples will always choose cooperation over control." The age of the consortium was ending. The age of the Terran Empire had begun, and it all started with a single ship carrying explorers who refused to fire first.